Isn't that over? Isn't that over now?
Keep your 6 feet.
Well, yeah.
Glad to have you guys on, man. Glad to shoot the shit with you. Mike's running a little late, but you know, as they say in Hollywood, the show must go on. We got to keep rocking. So as soon as he jumps in,
was he running late? Was it late or was it too early?
So how you guys doing? How you guys holding up with this whole situation that's going down?
Well, good, man. Like I'm still at work. I'm an essential, or as I like to say, sacrificial worker. So I work at a refinery, so I've still been in there every day. But there's just more downtime, and I'm basically a hermit anyway, so it's not that much different.
An oil refinery, right?
Yeah.
Where's that?
That's in Clarkson and Mississauga.
Oh, cool.
Like Mississauga, Oakville border, down by the lake shore. Cool. They're like 26 years now.
All right.
Okay, wow.
So Sean's got to start paying you a bit more so you can give that up, right?
I'm not going to leave a job with a pension at 55.
All right.
You know what, Jay? We did have this talk. Like when I left Muscle Tech in 2016, I said, Adam, it's time to pull the chute, and we're going to do this all out. And 100%, I was always doing it kind of as a little hobby on the side or whatnot. And I said, Adam, now's the time, let's go. And he's like, that pension though.
You know, I get it, man. I'm kind of in the same boat, really. Just without the partner. Well, my partner is my partner as well, my wife. So when you left Muscle Tech, did you? Because I saw some posts on your IG about the other supplement company. You want to tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah, like I'm really grateful for that opportunity. I worked at Iovate Health Science for 9.5 years. They're the makers of Muscle Tech, 6-Star, Zenadrin, Hydroxycut, Purely Inspired. There were 13 companies under that umbrella. So I started off as a marketing guy, and I started learning about products. I was basically writing articles for bodybuilders. So I don't think Braden's going to get this one, but Jay, you might. Do you remember those 6-page advertorials?
Yep, I do. Because I remember you've been writing for Muscle Tech. When I started following you on Facebook, I remember they were just like kind of posting the articles that you would write there on Facebook. Yeah.
See, I don't, because I was born yesterday.
How old are you guys?
But I'm 23.
He's 23. I'm 35.
So how'd you guys come about your meeting?
The guy that came up with the whole Nitro Tech is 964% better than weight.
Yeah. So how old are you guys?
I'm 41.
And I'm 55.
Okay, good. So you're
waiting
for that pension. It's coming right now.
Yeah. How did you guys like meet and come up with the partnership that you guys have? How did that come about?
Well, it's a good segue because we actually met through Muscle Tech. At the time, I was in the athlete relations department, and we were looking for some guys that were going to go from kind of out of shape, fat, to shredded, and they were going to use Hydroxycut for this. And we found Adam, and I selected him to be part of this transformation. And so for prep for one of his shows, he used one of the formulas and competed, looked insane, and then showed up for the photo shoot. And when the before and the after were being compared, it was determined by the legal department that his transformation was seen to be too extreme. And so that's why you never saw Adam in any magazines.
That's funny.
His transformation was wasted. They threw it out. They said, this is not realistic. This suggests that the product is going to get you this ripped. We can't do that. And so we paid him, but he wasn't in the mags. And then we just started talking like, in that talent relations position, you get to know all the athletes pretty tight. And I think that's how I originally connected with the community. and people got to know that like I was the real deal, and if I said something, I was going to do it. And
what year
yeah,
was that?
Adam,
If sorry, I don't mean to interrupt. What year was that?
2010.
2010.
2010. I was actually sponsored by Muscle Tech at the time too, and so when they asked me to do the transformation, I started eating a large pizza every day till the start. So because I was thinking about you remember the old Lee Priest ads where he's eating the donuts?
Yeah.
See,
right?
Mike might remember
So
those
like,
ads. I don't remember those ads.
Yeah.
Which
You remember
ads?
those Lee
I
Priest
wanted
ads
to
where
do
you
that,
eat those
so I got
donuts
up to
and
Oh, yeah.
like 265 pounds, and then I dieted down to 210 in 12 weeks of the contest. And then they said, sorry, no, that wasn't realistic. I'm like, oh, but Lee Priest, come on.
That's crazy.
Hey, Mike.
So is that
What's up?
happening, Mike?
What's going on, guys?
So is this
What's going on, brother?
I see the supplements behind you, Sean. Is this the company that you're with now?
No.
Okay.
So when I left Muscle Tech 2016, I took about 6 months to kind of shop around, looking for what was out there. And for me, what I wanted was like, forget marketing, forget hype, forget packaging. What I was looking for was like, who actually had the best raw materials, the best quality products, and stuff that was more steak than sizzle, you know? So
Yeah.
I teamed up with ATP Labs. And so I've been with ATP Labs since, I guess, December 2016.
Okay.
And
Yeah, see, Adam, you caught me. Yeah, that's what I was talking about. He forgot they're behind him.
Sean, did you find that with Muscle Tech it was more, you know, the shoebox effect where it was great on the outside? They focused a lot on the presentation rather than the quality.
I think that's a really good question, Mike.
yeah, I mean, it's difficult to look back and knock a company that was basically running the game for a good 10 years. So they did understand the formula. At the time, it was magazines or everything. And they did these articles that spoke to bodybuilders. And you thought you were reading an article about how to get a bigger chest. And then they threw in a Celtec bottle at the end. The formula worked for a long time. And, you know, you got to give them credit. Did they invest quite a bit in marketing? Absolutely.
For sure.
Did they have you know, they might not have spent as much into the product as they did into the marketing.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, as a consumer, you got to say, what's more important to me? Is it the packaging? Is it the label? Or do I want a formula that's made for an athlete that's going to
I feel like this is kind of a common theme, though, in the industry, that people are more focused on the outside view, the packaging, rather than the quality, the essence, you know, boils down to what is going to benefit the athletes. And it's interesting because
I remember Sean telling me before that they would formulate something, have a really great formula for a product.
Yeah.
And the accountants would go, no, we're not going to pay for that. This is what you're going to pay instead.
You know, it's
so
funny, man. It's crazy because I used to work at GNC, and I remember the Celtec, like, looking at it, and they had a lot of, like, just cheap ingredients. Well, one of the ingredients at the top of my head was dextrose. They had a lot of dextrose. But which is, like, I guess it's kind of an old school thing that a lot of people who aren't deep in bodybuilding wouldn't know about.
It's not an expensive thing to add, right?
No, but it's efficient enough to get results.
Yeah.
You know, especially in the post-workout, you're taking it with the creatine, and it helps shuttle everything right in.
Yeah.
Just, you know.
The worst thing, the problem is you could go to Bulk Barn.
Of course.
Buy 5 pounds of dextrose for a few bucks.
Yeah.
Versus $90 for something.
But it goes to show you the power of marketing, because at the time, all these top-end guys were with Muscle Tech. And, you know, it's the image. You see Jay on the bottle. You see, you know, Johnny Jackson on the bottle or whatever. And then you look at the product, you envision yourself, and you're not thinking Bulk Barn.
Yeah.
Like, you're not thinking like, you know, I want to be a Price Club bodybuilder. I want to be an elite bodybuilder. I want to be like fucking Jay Cutler. I'm going to take what he takes.
So Sean,
You know?
at the time that you were writing for them, were you competing as well, or is this when you started coaching?
I think I didn't start competing until I think I was about 30. I gave it like I was never really that interested in the competing side. I was always into training, coaching. The competing thing I sort of picked up like, what the hell, let's give this a shot and see how it goes. When I was working with them, they did have an in-house bodybuilding contest for the entire company. And so technically that was my first bodybuilding show.
Nice.
So that's kind of cool. Like,
That's pretty cool.
They 320 people in one building. And you imagine a company like Muscle Tech, I would say about 40% of those people lived in the gym. And then you take those 40%, and I would say at least 100 of them could compete on a provincial level stage. And then you get them to compete against each other in the same building.
Yeah.
Messing with each other every day, talking shit, you know, seeing each other.
Somebody brings in a 12-pack of donuts just to look at, just places it on the counter.
Like, you would warm up your food and you would come back and you'd see somebody putting butter on it.
Yeah. That's joke.
And actually, quick story. That's how the name T-Rex first came. So I was prepping for this show, the 2007 in-house Muscle Tech show. And there was
so they would do these shows like outside of any organization. This is just like within
the actual company.
Yeah, and it was during company hours, so it would be like
sick.
on your lunch hour.
You get paid to compete. Yeah.
And they had all the lighting and the stage and everything.
Sick.
It was like any regional show you go to.
And they had an amazing gym there too. Amazing.
I was just gonna say that. I heard they had a crazy gym. They did a lot of the shoots for the marketing you guys did there with a lot of the high-end pros.
Where was this location?
Oakville, right?
I followed them for I think 3 locations. One was Mississauga, and the longest one I was at was Oakville.
That's what I heard. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, I was competing the first time, and there was another guy who was trash talking me nonstop. He knew we were in the same weight class, and this guy was just relentless. He would just go at me. And then one day he finally came up to me and he's like, hey, Sean, I'm gonna call you T-Rex with those tiny little arms and that big head of yours.
Oh, that's funny. So, I had no idea.
So
that's where the name originated, eh?
Yeah.
This is where it originated, and you know, it was that whole prep. I had to deal with this, and then so that becomes the story of like taking your weaknesses and building upon them, and letting somebody's negativity fuel your drive. And for Adam and I, that's kind of what T-Rex was about. And when we started the team in 2010, 2011, back then we didn't want a team name. We thought it was gay. We were like, fuck that. This is Adam and Sean, there's no team. And then all the people on the team were like, we want a team name. So I said, Adam, you know, like, I guess we could go with T-Rex. I'm like, I think it is what it is. And then Adam's like, well, you know what my middle name is, right? Rex.
Oh yeah, fuck off.
Oh, that's great.
So
That's
nice.
great.
Adam's middle name is
Sean didn't want to call it T-Rex. Nice.
Yeah, nice.
So then we
It
took
worked
that
out.
moment and
Yeah,
we were like,
because your
you
last
know,
name
okay,
and
let's
his middle name,
run
yeah.
with this.
That worked
So
out
guys,
well.
I have a question. Was the first promotional shoot for your company done when we met, I believe, in 2014 with Teresa?
Well, we were just looking back at old photos, and our first team photo shoot was June 2013. So I guess there was one before that, Mike.
Okay,
You
cool,
guys
cool.
started together from the beginning? Were you coaching before that separately?
I think I started maybe 1 or 2 years, just maybe we're talking like 10, 15, 20 clients. Because I was, a manager at Muscle Tech at the time. I was busy. And then I met Adam 2010, and then we started getting the ball rolling 2012.
Sean was actually the first prep I ever did.
Okay.
Oh, cool.
Right.
So,
we met through the photo shoot, and he's like, "Oh, I've always admired your condition," and a lot of people have been asking me to coach just based on how I came in at shows, right? But I was always kind of resistant to it. But I looked at him, I'm like, "Well, this is a guy with similar physique to me, and we get along well. So what works for me would probably work for him." And we got him in great shape, and it just went from there. We just started adding more and more clients.
That's awesome.
Oh,
So
nice. So you were Sean's coach when you brought him in.
Yeah, initially.
That's an interesting dynamic, right? Because even from my perspective, just like from what I've seen, it always seemed like Sean was like the face of the company. Is that because Sean's more active on social media? Is that pretty much why?
I think Sean's always had more clients than me too, because like I say, I've been working a full-time job.
Right.
Yeah.
While we've been doing this and stuff. And I coached Sean for that first show, but after that, we would always be each other's set of eyes for, any prep that I was doing. He would, give me feedback and stuff, and we would always help each other out as we were going.
I have to apologize because I know I've seen you a couple times, or even at Pure, I run into you, and I never realized that you were.
You guys have seen each other. You've seen each other at shows for sure.
Oh, for sure. For sure. I know I've seen Sean because like every time backstage, there's like a gang of bikini girls that are bigger girls that are just all ganged up, ready to win the shows.
So I got a question.
Yeah,
I got a question. Sorry, I got a question for Adam. How do you manage like your career, like what you do as your career, and balance with the coaching? Like, what would you say is the biggest factor in how you manage the two?
I think early on it was just I was so passionate about the coaching and stuff. I knew I couldn't really leave my job, but it was also a fairly physical job, and I was competing myself at the time. I remember I think we did one provincials, and I had like 5 clients in the show myself, and I was competing too. But it helped a lot actually, because it took my mind off myself. I had to worry about other people and stuff. And I just basically went through the motions of my own prep and stuff, and it worked out really well. And I think if you enjoy doing something,
it doesn't feel like work, right?
Yeah, it's like going to the gym and working out. I mean, can you imagine not doing it, right? So I was enjoying it so much that it didn't seem like a workload. You know what I mean?
That's a good way to look at it for sure, I think.
Yeah.
Now, do you guys have any other, like, I believe before you had like Anya as another coach, or do you guys have like someone else? Like, is it just you two, or do you have other people running Bikini? Or
yeah, like we've gone through over the last 8-10 years. We've brought on lots of coaches.
Yeah.
I think on my last check, we've had about 25 to 30 different people coaching with us at different times.
Holy shit.
Wow. That's a crazy amount.
One of the problems that we were running into was like, you don't want to micromanage coaches. You don't want to tell people how they should be coaching.
Absolutely.
But at the same time, you want them to follow the same sort of philosophies that Adam and I have. So the ideal candidate was always somebody who we had coached ourselves, and then we graduate after a prep or two into being a coach and made sure they had the right credentials. But what ended up happening over the years, guys, was just you started chasing people down with, who's doing what, and something didn't coincide with what other people were doing, and then you had to confront somebody like, oh, why are you doing a 72-hour fast? following every teammate.
Right.
Yeah.
We started getting complaints too, so we had to whittle it down and just keep people that actually would defer to us and let us oversee their programs and stuff. And
So how do you? No, sorry. Go ahead.
Right now we've got Chevy Phillips, IFBB Pro. He's coaching under us.
Cool.
Karen Gilroy, who's national level fitness competitor. We got Nick Twom, who's national level bodybuilder, as you guys know. And great guy. He's been with us for a long time. Very, very loyal. Does a great job with all of his clients. And someone like that that's stable and doesn't want to come and go, as it were. And now we've got Jeff Vella, one of my clients, who's just done an amazing job with the guy that won our last transformation contest. I don't know if we can show a picture of it, right?
Yeah, I was just trying to bring up the website just to kind of show a little bit. Plus, a little plug, throw the website up there. I'll put all the website and contact information in the description of the video as well. So
our main goal is just to do, bring every client in at their all-time best. That's been the goal all along. It's not been about trying to make a lot of money off of people or to have a massive team with a ton of members getting cookie cutter workouts.
And
doing an individualized prep for someone, it's a lot of work.
And how would you differentiate based on the fact of like certain clients? Like, how would you differentiate which client goes to which coach? Is that something that the clients kind of have a say towards, or is it something that, let's say the client signs up for like a 12-week prep, and like how would you decide based on those factors who gets the client essentially?
You guys specialize in each?
I try to do more bodybuilders and men's physique and stuff like that at bigger girls mainly.
Okay.
What happens is if we have a client come in that requests one of us, we'll have a look and see if it's someone who's like a national level or a pro, and figure out who is going to take it, or if they're in a better location, say they're in London and Nick Twom is right there. There's a lot of different factors going into it, but generally it's got to be like Sean can take more clients because this is his full-time gig. I'm going to take,
that makes sense.
More of the clients who come in specifically requesting me who are usually national levels or above.
So you'd say you take on more of the tougher level clients, like not tougher level clients, but like more of the clients that are like at a higher level.
Yeah, just because I have to pick and choose how many I can take because of my workout.
All right, let's talk a little nuts and bolts. So how far apart do you guys differ with each other? I'm not going to lead into the other coaches, but how far apart do you guys differ from each other as far as it goes with meal plans, supplementation? Is there someone who's like, okay, this guy is better with natural athletes, or this guy only does macros, or this guy, this coach definitely is not going to do macros, so if you don't want to follow a meal plan, don't work with him? How do you guys differentiate?
Well, I think it depends on the kind of clients we've been training. Like, so Adam works a lot with bodybuilders, and I have been getting a lot of the bikini girls, the figure girls. The preps that you do with these people are all customized, and what ends up happening is your approach to things starts to change. So my philosophies on nutrition are changing based on the clients that I'm training, and Adam's would be geared more towards the ones that he's with. But when we, launched the website and teamed up in 2015 and kind of put things public, we did sit down and come up with a list of like 20 things or so that we felt were T-Rex philosophies, things that we both agreed on. We weren't going to do this, and kind of put all this. And I believe it's somewhere on our website, just about things that we believe in. So that was sort of, we established our core root values of things that we wanted to kind of entrench in all of our clients and the coaches that we bring on. And then, the differences with Adam and I mean, it's about 80% similarities, I would say.
Yeah, we differ on a bunch of different things, but you know, like I know you guys, like you remember back in the day, you know, before the internet, right? You get Muscle Mag, you get
I don't
Flex
remember.
magazine,
I don't
you get
remember that,
Muscle
but they
Mag,
probably do.
Hard Man.
Oh yeah.
You don't
yeah.
remember that, but the thing is, you would get all these different magazines, you know, or books or whatever, and you would notice that they would, you know, have different approaches, different recommendations, but there was some common ground in all of them, you know, just basically in terms of like how much protein you take, what's the best kind of cardio and stuff like that to do. Just some basic core values that all the people
So
that were
most of the stuff you
professional
learned was on
writers
magazines.
and were educated about it seemed to share, as opposed to just being some guy on YouTube who's on one show. You know, there was certain things that we based, you know, just basic core things that are common sense, but have seemed to go out the window a lot.
Yeah, that's like one of the specifics that I wanted to discuss, like protein. Do you guys both agree on protein intake, like per body weight per gram, like for a male or woman, or does one of you differentiate like higher protein or lower protein? Along with your other coaches as well, do you have everyone follow kind of like a same guideline, or do you let everyone kind of mimic how they do things and then base it on results?
Well, that can vary from client to client too, right?
Okay, I'm gonna share with it, because I know people who are watching, they want to hear some details, because we all see the pictures that we share, that you guys share, and you guys have some amazing clients. So we're gonna highlight a couple of them right now. Can you see the pages we're sharing?
Yep.
Okay, so let's talk about Chevy, because Chevy's also one of my teammates, an HD athlete and funny guy. So like, how many grams of carbs does Chevy eat in like an off season?
Oh yeah.
I actually saw him like literally. I was shooting with HD, and I was shooting with HD, and this guy like looks photo shoot ready year round, it seems. So like, what the hell?
Yeah, that's why I picked him specifically. So like, how many grams of carbs does Chevy eat?
I saw him yesterday, right? Or sorry, not yesterday, the day before.
Basically, you know, we set a certain amount of carbs and protein and whatever, and then I tell him basically have as many cheat meals as you want on top of that.
Okay, so is his baseline carbs, would you say, like high? Does he have what you would call a fast metabolism?
Yeah, he's got an extremely fast metabolism. Like, I mean, we just kept upping during the first off season, and he never got to a level of body fat that I wanted to see him at. You know, he can basically eat whatever he wants and look the way he looks. But it's a double-edged sword too, because, you know, if you have an area you want to improve, like in my opinion, it really behooves you to put on some body fat in the off season, you know, and not stay too lean. So you know,
100%.
He gets a lot of carbs, a lot of cheat meals, a lot of everything. And what I try to do, especially in a case like that, is here's your baseline, eat this, and then eat what you want on top of it, not instead. You know what I'm saying? So he's still getting all the high quality protein, carbs, and fats he needs in every day.
I like that.
I'm jealous of this guy, man. I wish I was able to just kind of eat whatever.
I think it's a more sustainable approach. So when you're prepping a guy like Chevy, how low does Chevy have to go?
Not very low.
Not
okay. Low. That's amazing.
All right, I wanna grab one for Sean. I'm assuming that this is one of Sean's clients.
You froze.
Oh my! Yeah. Laura's a great story, guys. You know, I got a message on Instagram one day from what looked to be spam. It was a Colombian model who wanted to meet at the gym for a personal training session, and her page said Colombia, and I was like, yeah, sure, let's do this. You know, like. Let's see you show up at my gym. And so, sure enough, I waited, and she rolls in right on time. And when I met Laura, I think that Laura is a great example of what a lot of
young women are doing right now, which is essentially starving themselves.
Yeah.
1 or 2 meals a day, not eating enough, eating the wrong foods.
Yeah.
And so when I started working with Laura, we actually did it in reverse. So we started her, like when I met her, she was doing 1 or 2 meals a day. And we slowly built her up to 4, 5 meals a day, gradually adding calories. And she went from probably eating about 75 grams of carbs a day up to now about 175, 200 grams a day, plus a carb up meal once a week. And so,
wow, and that's staying in this type of shape at that.
Yeah, yeah. Like in some of these pictures, we were working together for a WBFF show. That's just the division that she chose. She's more interested in fitness modeling and not as much as becoming like a wellness pro.
Yeah.
So, you know, in some cases we
she likes money. Basically, you're saying she likes money.
That's never a bad thing.
Nope.
Yeah. So, you know, she's in Spain now, but she is still a great story for women that you can train hard, you can lift heavy weights, you can eat double or triple what you've been eating currently, and you're going to look better. And I could name like 4 or 5 other girls just in the last year that follow this same principle, where it's like, what do you mean you want me to eat more carbs and less carbs?
It's almost like
it's
they
a
don't
lack
trust
of knowledge.
Whoa, holy shit, who's this?
See, was me at provincials in 2014. I won the Masters overall there.
Okay, so this guy with this legs quad separation, was he doing a lot of cardio? Because a lot of people say, you know, if you want to save your legs, you don't want to do any cardio.
That's me.
This is you? Holy shit, no wonder I don't recognize you when I see you.
I know.
That's a good pick.
Cardio, that was a 6-week prep. I only did it because I got a new sponsor who wanted to do a photo shoot with me, and I did 0 cardio for that shit.
Wow, nice.
Damn.
So do you just diet harder to do less cardio, or do you just have a fast metabolism as well?
I've got a fast metabolism too, and it, you know, certain supplements enable you to shed a lot of body fat and keep muscle. So
we like those supplements on this show.
Yeah. And if you can afford that supplement, then.
Yeah. Man, you guys have a lot of great clients.
Jay, just to address your protein question, you know, over the years, I've kind of come up with a formula that I like to work. And, you know, when we're working with a natural athlete, you're not going to process protein the same way an enhanced athlete is, obviously. The nitrogen retention is the same. You don't have the same hormone signaling driving those aminos into the cell. So what I usually say is your protein intake, it shouldn't be based on your body weight. It should be based on your lean body weight. So you establish how many pounds of lean body weight you are. Let's say it's 165 pounds of lean. The absolute lowest that I go on natural athletes is 1 gram of protein for that 165. And then for enhanced athletes, we go 1.5 to 2.
Is that male or female?
Not female so much.
Yeah, more so for male. And then for female, you know, we might go as high as 1.25. If when we're talking about some of our physique pros, we will go 1.5.
Natalie Thompson, she can also take a lot of.
Yeah, that's where I remember you from. I saw you with Natalie Thompson at Pure Muscle and Fitness, didn't I? Yeah. Because I remember seeing you at shows and stuff, but when I meet people at the gym, it's always more personal. Okay, so how much of an increase would you say you would get in protein synthesis on a female athlete adding something in like Anavar? Something small, because I know a lot of women aren't doing much more than that, or I don't know about your opinion.
Yeah.
Shouldn't be doing too much more than that.
It depends on the category you're in too, right? And I mean, we try to use, with males as well, as little as possible, right?
Of course.
And yeah, but I mean, like, people say this, but I had one female client who won her class at nationals and got second at the Arnold Amateurs, completely natural, right? And after she got second at the Arnold Amateurs, I'm like, let's throw in 10 milligrams of Anavar, and then she won her pro card.
Wow.
But the difference was
Just that little bit.
big.
Yeah.
And when you're
not
going
that
from, when you're adding in a small difference like that, just to continue on the protein topic, do you then increase from, say, like you were saying, under a gram to 1.2 max?
You would definitely bump up the protein if anytime you're adding any anabolic. But the thing with protein too is it's also dependent on how that person processes carbs, right? If you have like I had a girl we both coached at different points named Marta, and when she came to me,
I remember Marta.
she was on very little carbs and high protein. And we gradually raised the carbs and just lowered the protein a little bit just to keep the calories,
Yeah.
from getting out of hand. But she looked better and better. So for her, she didn't need more than a gram of protein. She needed more carbs to look better. So, protein, carbs are protein sparing. So if you can get more carbs in there, they're gonna be more anabolic, more insulin, be able to work out harder as long as you have that, that baseline of amino acids that are enough to build muscle.
I want to go through each of the macronutrients. I know the guys that have some other stuff too, but I want to get through some of the nuts and bolts. Okay, so what are your guys' thoughts on protein timing, both for men and women?
Well, one of the things that I sort of feel strongly about is you're not going to get the same net protein synthesis eating these small little doses of protein throughout the day. I know this is optimal for fat burning. If weight loss is your primary intention, then yes, eat every 2 to 3 hours. But when you look at the research and you do some digging and dive down, you'll see you do want to have meal sizes with different protein intakes in them. So there's certain times where you do want that protein to be hammered home, and then there's some times where you want a moderate dose. And so we look at the individual's day. When are they most catabolic? When are their muscles most in need? And we hammer the protein. When I say hammer, I mean like
increase
40, 45 grams as opposed to 25 to 30
per meal.
And so just on that topic.
No, he's saying for this one meal. So this would be like your post-workout meal, your pre-workout meal,
breakfast.
and then more moderate protein at breakfast, or higher at breakfast.
Yeah. Well, I know, like, when we started coaching, everybody was like, eat this much protein and this much carbs every 3 hours. So that's kind of like the simplistic way of doing it. If you dig into the research, you'll see like, some meals need to be a little higher, some need to be a little lower, and then you've got your total at the end of the day that you're trying to hit.
Yeah.
Do you differ or request where these sources of proteins come from, and especially how many fats are being eaten with the protein around the training?
Yeah, for sure. You always want to have it be a high quality source of protein. Use almost always an animal-based protein, right? I mean, there are people who are out there who are vegans who are doing that stuff, but to me, the highest quality aminos you're going to get are from animal protein, whether that source is, eggs, chicken, steak.
Would you consider whey? Would you consider whey as a part of a meal, or would you just consider that separate? Say I did like oats with whey, like I did like a protein. Like would that be considered a meal, or you wouldn't have your clients doing any whey? Like,
no, I would definitely have them do whey, especially in the off season. It's a great source of protein as long as you have a good quality whey, right?
Yeah.
Going back to muscle tech, I remember the Nitro Tech back in the day. I couldn't even take it because I'm pretty sure it was 100% glycine, and I have to run to the washroom every time I took it.
Yeah, I heard they got in trouble for that actually.
So it wasn't good.
Did they, Mike? Did they really get in trouble for that?
That's what, when I was working at GNC, I know there was a bunch of companies that they got called back because of lysine spiking, and I heard that.
Leucine. Leucine?
Sorry.
No, glycine.
Lysine?
Because
it was one of them.
It reads the same nitrogen content as whey protein,
right.
so they would just substitute it. It's stupid shit, right? But
so it wasn't good quality.
Yeah, absolutely. Whey is a great source.
Yeah.
How do you guys feel about well, I don't want to take up all the time, but you know I'm a nutrition junkie, Sean. You know that. So guys, let's stay on the topic of nutrition. Do you have any questions going into carbs and fats for these guys? Did we freeze up? So how you guys feel about?
What's that?
I was just giving you guys. Go ahead, Adam.
If you want like a basic layout of the diet would be, you know, we would start with the amount of protein, right? The carbs will vary according to how the client processes the carbs, right?
Yeah, for sure.
As you guys know, some people need to be on very low carbs to lose weight. Some people can have a high intake of carbs and still lose weight, which is obviously what you want. Mm-hmm. So we'll try and go with the highest level of carbs we can while still losing weight. And the carbs would generally be breakfast, pre, and post workout, you know, as a baseline, and we'd add them in the other meals according to how the client can do it. And if, you know, in the early stages of the diet or off season, fruit would be at breakfast only, right? Because the fruit sugar replenishes your liver glycogen only, right? So you want to have that at breakfast only, because it's not going to do anything for your muscle the rest of the day, and it can trigger other carbs to be stored as fat in your body.
Yeah.
Right? Once you have that level down, then we're going to make up the rest of the calories with essential fats. You know, we always like to supplement with omega-3 oils and stuff. And the ratio of fat to carb is what will change the most based on the individual's response, if you see what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So the protein wouldn't differ too much. It's more so just tinkering with the fats and the carbs.
And if anything, the protein is going to go up as calories come down during the diet, right?
Yeah, exactly. Protein also keeps you more satiated throughout the day, right? Like opposed to carbs and fats, right?
What were you going to say, Sean?
Too, pretty well.
Just on the topic of macros, like it's kind of a sensitive topic. I've been answering some of the emails that come in, and I would say once a month we get an email from a potential client that says, I want to work with you, but I have to do macros. And then it becomes like, well, that's not really the T-Rex way. Like we don't do that. The closest that we'll get to it is in an off season, you know, we'll give people 4 or 5 different choices for that meal. But when it comes to our diets, like since day one, we have always done, you know, you get your numbers at the end of the day, and every single meal is laid out for you with the food, alternative options, and all the numbers for every meal. So
yeah. And
then at the bottom, what I like to do from day one is I'll say, okay, these are Mike's protein choices, and then I'll give him 8 different protein options. And
hot dogs or soy?
What we would do is we would look at, you know, the history of the individual, any digestive issues, any food sensitivities testing they've had. It's a controversial topic, but I do believe in some blood type theories, not specifically root of that book. However, there is a chemistry to food, and there's a chemistry to the blood, whether you're A, B, O, and those certain individuals will metabolize foods in a more efficient way if it's the right food for their blood. And so
absolutely, it's really interesting. I would have
some
never even
people
thought of
can
that.
eat whatever, right? Some people can eat whatever and their body will burn through it. You know, maybe like a Chevy, he doesn't have to be as narrow. But, you know, once you get past 30 and your digestive system starts challenging you, you do have to start picking the foods that were more designed for your body. Not just your body type, but I mean like your DNA and your blood. So there's DNA testing you can have done online and send away for. You can get a copy of the Eat Right for Your Blood Type book and visit a naturopath to do a food sensitivities test. If somebody is serious about changing their body and they've failed several times in the past, I'm going to request these 3 pieces of information from day one. And so
Have you guys done those before? Have you done those before, Sean and
Personally, like
yeah, like have you guys done that?
Yeah. So quick story, like as a kid, I had really bad asthma. So I had puffers. I'd have to take puffers 3 or 4 times a day. I was, you know, trying to play hockey and I was always getting winded and I was constantly using these puffers. And then when I was 19, 20, my first job at Premier Curzon's gym, the head trainer there said, you know, you should check out this Eat Right for Your Blood Type book. And I'm type A. That's the worst for a bodybuilder. A is like highest levels of cortisol, low resistance to stress. You're supposed to be like eating more vegan type foods. So what I did was I said, okay, fuck that tofu shit. But I am going to eat these specific carbs. And so it became 8 to 10 specific carbs that were more in line with my blood type.
What are yours?
And within 6 months of doing that, my asthma completely reversed. And I've had no issues ever since. And so I was really happy about that. And so for me, I had to avoid a lot of the things that I was eating every day. So like oats.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a big one. A lot of guys eat oats. Yeah.
Anything with wheat, gluten in it, dairy, artificial sweeteners. There's about 6 vegetables that you would consider healthy that are on there too.
Wow.
Wow.
Things like tomatoes, coconut. You know, you get a long list of what's best and what's not. And so what I try to do with clients that have this sensitive digestive tract is we try to emphasize those particular foods in their meal plan. And it's like just that extra step. Like everybody knows T-Rex customizes their plan, but this is the next level. Like now your coach is saying, okay, these are your 7 proteins. These are your 8 carbs. You don't have to ever ask me, you know, can I eat cream of rice? Do you see it on the list? Then you can. You know, and then it kind of simplifies food substitutions.
You mentioned oats. That's one of the biggest problem foods, especially for female competitors.
Yeah.
It's very slow to digest, right?
Yeah, and a lot of girls load up like it. It's one of the most common food allergies. A lot of people don't realize.
I didn't even expect that. No, I didn't even expect that.
Is that because of gluten? That's because of gluten, though?
No, it's not, because the gluten-free oats can produce the same results. If I have a girl who has an issue with bloat or abdominal distension, the first thing I'll do is take oats out and substitute with cream of rice. You know, and then just after that, if that doesn't solve it, then we start going down the list. But that'll often take care of it.
It's almost like an elimination process that you have to go through.
Yeah.
To figure out what's causing the problems.
So what I'll do is I'll eat grits, corn grits.
Yeah.
Oh, Ronnie Coleman style.
Nobody in Canada eats grits, right?
I don't even think you can find that anywhere.
Yeah, if you go to like any Healthy Planet kind of store, they'll have it there, and it's like corn grits. And you don't have to. People think grits is fattening. It's just finely granulated corn, and it digests so much better than oats.
That's cool. We eat cornmeal in Jamaica, and just to go again with what you were saying with blood testing, I've never done it, but I've had conversation with a friend who have, and he believes that it goes even deeper to like what your roots, like what your ancestors ate, and how those foods will actually react really well with your body.
I would agree with that too. I would agree with that too, for sure.
All right, so
anytime I have digestive issues, if I start to get bloating, because I've got IBS, right?
yeah,
Me too, bro. Me too.
It's
Yeah.
especially if you have that,
It's a
you got to really
disaster.
watch what you put into your body.
Adam, do you
when
find?
it gets bad, I go to chicken breast, white rice, and like peas and carrots, and that will.
Do you
like
find that?
baseline you?
Yeah.
Sorry, Mike.
Adam, do you find that like certain things may help you, like probiotics? Because like for me, sometimes I could take any supplement and it doesn't matter. My stomach, once it's pissed off, and it doesn't take much. Like I had sushi the other day. I have one cheat meal a month, literally, and I had sushi with a little bit of soy sauce. Disaster. It's either bloat or it's
the soy
yeah.
sauce.
It could be, but it's not something I do often. And then even still, when I'm on my regular diet, it gets pissed off, and that's why I was actually thinking about getting like my blood test done and seeing, based on that, what I really
should. You absolutely should. And if you know a baseline food that will work for you, just go back to eating that for a few days. And when I do that, it's the fastest recovery for me. I've taken probiotics and the what do you call the enzymes and stuff like that. The problem too is enzymes you can get dependent on exogenous enzymes, which you don't really want. Probiotics, I just found maybe gassier.
Yeah, but that doesn't really help with like when you take those things, or if you take the blood test and they say avoid these foods. That's not like considering your IBS. That's like, well, based on, I guess, you as a person, but not your current medical situation. Because I've tried a lot of different shit, man, and it's always a problem for me.
Yeah, the foods that are best, that if you avoid your food allergens, that's definitely going to help your IBS.
Yeah. I found for me one thing that's helped is
avoiding stimulants. Those are the main things that are going to help your IBS.
I found that one thing that's helped with me, I've never really had digestion issues, but I have had like here and there some issues. I found that taking Metamucil, like a psyllium husk fiber supplement, has actually helped me quite a considerable amount. What do you guys think on that? Like, you think that, because I heard it from Dave Palumbo actually.
Yeah.
I feel it. Yeah, if you're not getting enough fiber in your diet, I guess it's a good alternative. But ideally, you should be having enough fiber through your oats, or if you're not eating oats, your veggies.
It's hard to get enough fiber, though, I feel like.
Yeah, I never ate vegetables for most of my entire life.
Right. So then, yeah, it'd be good.
I feel like it's hard, even if you eat vegetables, and even if you're eating oats. Like, I feel like it's hard.
It's also a lot of the protein, right? When you have high protein, you're more likely to get backed up. A lot of the red meat could kill me.
You got to be careful with the vegetables. Vegetables, some of them can be a big trigger. Like, some people just can't have broccoli.
Yeah, broccoli for me. That's what does it. Yeah.
There are vegetable fibers your body can't break down, and if your vegetables are undercooked, they can cause problems.
Sean, you mentioned
just to Braden's point about the Metamucil. So what I would say is, if you're going to take it kind of like as that insurance policy that I'm getting enough fiber, I'm going to keep things moving and I'm not going to get backed up, I think that's a great idea. But because there's different sources of fiber, and soluble, insoluble, and it might be better to take a broad spectrum fiber source. So something like a daily cleanse, which has 6 or 7 different types of natural fibers in them.
Okay.
Probably going to be better, because if something is lacking in your diet, like if you have too many soluble, not enough insoluble, and as you do contest prep, this typically happens. If this gets outweighed, that's where the digestive issues are going to start to arise. So having a broad source, so instead of just psyllium husk, you have like ground chia and flax and 4 other different versions of fibers, and they're treated differently in the intestinal tract. I think that if you're doing it for an insurance purpose reason, that's the ticket. And then my go-to with clients who, let's say it's Friday night before a show and they can't go to the washroom, senna capsules have been the kind of saver in that case. So that's like a natural leaf-based laxative type supplement, but it's not a daily thing.
And it's also it's more gentle than the sleep husk too.
Yeah.
Right? It does.
Do you guys ever recommend fasting for digestional issues with clients? I know you made a joke about fasting before.
Yeah, I haven't had anybody yet that I thought that the fasting would work. Typically, when I get a new client, phase one I call cleanup phase. So if you overwhelm a new client with an entirely new plan, and it's vastly different. And so a lot of coaches I've heard are doing this where it's basically, here's your bikini plan, here's your figure plan. If it's night and day different than what they're doing, things aren't going to work well for you. They're going to be backed up. They're going to have bloating. Their energy level is going to be messed up. Their blood sugar is going to be messed up.
Their body's not used to it.
Yeah.
It's just too much of a change.
You can't, step on a track and start sprinting. Start with a light jog, guys.
Yeah.
Work your way up to it. And so what we do is like phase one, okay, we're going to fix these 3 things this month. Phase two, diet gets a little harder. So it's graduating to each next phase. And that for me has been better than don't eat anything. And we're going to kind of cleanse your system that way. I would rather say, okay, you're having 6 different sources of hidden sugars in your day. I don't know if you were aware, but let's trim this down to just 1. And this is a much safer way to do it than the fasting. I do a lot of clients intermittent fasting protocols. I think it's great. I don't think it's great for contest prep. I do think it has a great place for lifestyle clients that want to be productive, get shredded, and maintain a lean physique.
Especially like the clients I feel like that are like super busy. Like I work with a lot of people who don't really have time to eat in the morning, and it's almost like, they do need to eat less and put themselves in a deficit. And one of the easiest ways to do it is to have them not eat in the morning and eat most of their calories later on in the day because, well, number one, they don't have the time, and number two, it actually helps them in a way.
But
know what I mean?
Sean, do you feel like that wouldn't really work in their advantage if they're trying to, gain any muscle?
No, but I'm talking about the clients that are trying to lose weight, essentially.
Supplements designed by an IFBB pro, holistic nutritionist, and veteran. Our 360 quality assurance system ensures you get fully dosed supplements that work. Whether your goal is to build muscle, burn fat, enhance strength, or extend endurance, we've got what you need. This is an army of iron warriors. This is the AG Army. Join us and wage war on your genetics. AGArmy.com. Field tested, science proven, advanced genetics.
Mainly.
Okay.
But go ahead.
Yeah, Mike,
sorry.
That's actually a great point, Mike. Like a lot of people think fasting lose muscle, but in my experiences with clients, what I'm finding is that if you follow the lean gains protocol, which is 16 hours of fasting, 8 hours feeding window, if you time things perfectly so that you're training and then breaking the fast immediately after your training with a large meal, yourself the anabolic effects of that meal because you only have 8 hours to get, let's say 3,000, 4,000 calories in. So that means your post-workout is going to need to be around 1,000 calories. And if your body is in this deprived, low blood glucose, high insulin sensitivity, and you hammer home 1,000 calories after an intense workout,
it's getting soaked up.
Soaking it all up, yeah.
The problem is staying awake after.
Trying not to get into a food coma.
And I find like you never want it. If you're going to recommend an intermittent fasting protocol, look deep into whether the client has any tendencies towards an eating disorder. Because
Sure.
if they can't control themselves, they're not going to stop eating. You know, they'll have that first meal and then they'll keep going and going and going.
Yeah.
You have to spell it out for them, like, this is your meal from this time to this time. So if I sense that somebody has no self-discipline and no self-control, that's the last thing you want those guys on. But you can build muscle with the lean gains plan. You know, this theory that you're losing muscle in that 16 hours, I think of it more like a teeter-totter, right? You know,
because they're not on juice, right? These clients.
Well,
so
that's what I was just going to ask too. Do you think that varies with anabolics? Do you think anabolics
for sure
increase how long you can go without?
Yeah. You bang some GH in the morning when you wake up, man. You'll be okay.
Yeah. Okay, so I just wanted to say, like, we got a lot of questions. Like, we got a considerable amount of questions here. Did you guys want to start getting into those now?
Let's finish your thought, Sean. Sorry.
Okay. No. As soon as he's done, I mean.
Yeah, I think that was the main thing about the fasting protocols. Like, it seems it's a hot topic now, and I'm getting more and more clients that want to do it. And I don't think it's ever really going to have a huge place in the prep world. I just don't think you're going to maintain those blood glucose levels without any spillover following this plan. I think you can test it out with clients in an off season, because then, let's be real, like, most bodybuilders have a job. It's not always reasonable to be eating every 2 to 3 hours in real life. You know, if you're not a personal trainer and you have like an office job, scheduling an off season for somebody where you do the fasting protocol and loading them up post workout, you can build a little bit of muscle that way.
But again, it's not something you can do for someone who's a competitor.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I always like to think, look at the guys on the Olympia stage. What kind of diet are they following? These are the guys who are the most in the world at building muscle and burning
most
fat.
Successful. Yeah.
Would you bring
exactly right? They're not doing any fasting. They're not doing
no fucking way.
Right. Would you bring in another anabolic in order to allow someone to eat more food, or do you just kind of work with their metabolism? Just for instance, like something like EQ. A lot of people say that if you use EQ, you can eat a lot more carbs.
You know, I think in terms of that, again, it's going to be for a competitor only. We would never recommend that for any lifestyle.
No. Of course. It's for athletes.
Hey, man, just bang out some EQ every morning. You'll be good to go.
It's a good way to think about it.
Well, that's another good question too. What time is best to time things like GH and EQ or your tests? Do you believe in timing those shots?
The anabolic shots for long esters like EQ and, you know, like a test annotator or something, it doesn't matter. It forms a bolus in your muscle and it slowly releases. So whatever, you know what I mean? The RLs might give you a bit of a psychological boost if you want.
Yeah. Before training.
You're looking at the overall picture, not, you know, minute by minute type thing.
Right.
And then for the GH, there's more and more people pushing towards a before bed protocol. I still think the focus should be on what part of your day can you maintain a fasted state the longest. Most people are snacking at night. They're not going 2 to 3 hours without eating. I fully support the GH shot in the morning. 2, 3, 4 hours of not eating. Really make the most of that fat burning window while your body is, you know, tapping into the stored fat. It makes sense from a fat burning perspective. And then it's also got an anti-catabolic effect as well. So GH time in the morning for me.
Definitely first thing in the morning, and I like it about an hour after the post-workout meal.
Okay, that's what I was going to ask. Before or after cardio?
Yeah.
Sub-Q or IM?
What's that?
Sub-Q or intramuscular?
Sub-Q.
Okay.
That's just, you know, but again, that's what worked for me.
Right.
Yeah.
So fasted cardio.
wasn't doing any cardio for the contest, I was also eating 600 grams of carbs a day, right?
Cool.
But I
Decent.
had a very good pH source and protocol that worked like magic for me. So
why wait so we're gonna get up, we're gonna do our fasted cardio, and then we're gonna wait an hour before we do GH. Why wait?
No,
why
what,
that period? No.
No. I don't think.
Okay,
Yeah,
right away
GH
after
right
the
away. I was
cardio.
gonna say that makes no sense.
Okay. No, I thought he said that there was an hour there, so I wanted to clarify.
No, I like an hour after your post-workout meal too.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
that's what you're saying.
Generally, your last meal is probably not going to have much or any carbs in it
Right.
to make your insulin rise and counteract GH or whatever. But yeah, that's the protocol I always use.
So do you recommend people who are using like Cytomel or clenbuterol, do you recommend them take that before their fasted cardio in the morning, or do you not? Does that timing not matter?
The Clen, I would just take it first thing in the morning, and I would take the full dose and whatever it was.
Because some people split it into 2 doses. You just do the full dose in the morning.
Yeah, I just did the full dose in the morning. I've never seen any reason to split it or anything. I also really like Dave Palumbo's protocol for Clen, right? Where you start with 20 milligrams, I think a day, 20 micrograms a day, sorry, for the first week, then go to 40 for the second week, 60 for the third week, 80, and then up to 100 if you need to, and just stay there.
Yeah.
Right?
So you kind of work your way up.
Cycling it on and off, right? Because people will come off Clen and go on ephedrine, which is also a beta agonist, so it doesn't allow anything to recover, right? And you don't burn out those receptors as fast as is commonly believed, right? Also, if you start with 20 micrograms, your side effects go away very quickly, right? You go up to 40, your side effects go away very quickly because you're staying on that same dose for a week instead of going up every day and getting the sides every day. You know what I'm saying? So you have a more gentle, prolonged curve for that.
A gradual increase, right?
Love it.
That
gradual
was
increase.
and I thought it worked great for me.
Jay, I have seen some great research on the whole pulse dosing of Cytomel. I think we are on to something that this is what you're going to see standard practice of, several doses of T3 per day seems to have a better fat burning effect on the body, and it coincides better with the body's natural dumping of
with
thyroid.
the thyroid, because it's a trickle effect, right, that you're getting naturally.
Yeah, and really, by taking that one T3 in the morning, how many hours of enhanced metabolic activity are you really getting? We might be talking about 3, 4, 5 hours. And, I think you can benefit from taking it. There are some people who can't sleep at night if they take it too close. So I would support the multiple dosing.
There was a similar theory on microdosing and tests. I actually ran an experiment with myself, and I thought it was great. Like, I felt great through the whole process. I just kind of got annoyed with all the pins.
That's what it is, man. Like, I've had clients that are like, they tried to follow a cycle, and they decided that they were going to split it up into, everyday shots and multiple day shots. And the reason for that was just a more stable blood level, and they had less side effects.
The real reason is because you can only do about 5 ml shots.
Yeah.
It's just so much of a hassle. That's the only
I gotta get my wife to
if you want to be a pro and you don't like needles, you're in the wrong fucking sport, man.
Yeah, we always joke about it. It's the worst part about open bodybuilding.
You got to think about the end result. Why are you doing it for? You can't be thinking about, but it's too much pinning, or I got to eat too much or cook too much. It's the end result. You got to, if you want it, it's there. Do it. I
can't say shit. I'm procrastinating a shot right now. So
yeah.
I got one funny story to tell you though. I did another photo shoot with Muscle Tech, and it was for thermal imaging, right? So it all looked really cool. And the one guy who I did the shoot with was a massive Canadian pro who just turned pro. Okay, and they kept wanting us to pose, and so they told him, okay, do a frontal fly, do a frontal fly. He does this. They're like, oh, your arms down, hit it again. This.
But did he not know though?
Was he aware? Was he aware that one was lower than the other?
Yeah, and afterwards he came to me and he goes, I just put 4cc in that shoulder. That's what
That's funny.
4cc is down.
A lot of guys are shooting SEO, but back in the day they used to put their shots in sight injections, right? Like I've heard terrible things can come from that, but I haven't really seen or heard any personal experience.
From what, Jay? From what?
From sight injecting like oil, like Test or Pro.
Oh, that's a great idea. I mean, you can't overdo it, but it does naturally swell the area. So why are you going to put in a strong body part when you can put in a weak body part, right? In my opinion.
Yeah.
What's your opinion on that, Sean? I see your face like it's.
Well, like, why would if I have my weak body parts, my triceps, why would I put a shot of my quads when they're already not an issue?
Your strength.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It only makes if I want something to swell, it's going to be a weak body part.
So that's
Sean
where
doesn't
you,
agree.
that's where you go.
I can tell he doesn't agree. I'm waiting for him to say something.
I want to say that bear in mind too, right? Infections happen.
Yeah.
You
don't put every shot there. Yeah.
Yeah, I used to do them all in my glutes because I thought, well, if I lose a chunk of muscle, who cares? They're not going to see it there. They got to see in your shoulder or your quad, So
right
now,
that
Sean,
makes
before
sense.
you give your response, I'm like, I wouldn't put all my shots there. I always rotate. It's never like I just put it on my truck. I shoot too much for that. It's not realistic. You know what I mean? but my focus, I mean, this has worked for me. My focus would be weaker body parts. So
to each his own.
Like, what's on my mind right now, guys? It's like I'm so grateful that you guys have a podcast like this and you're getting real talk out there, because I've run into some situations in the last few years where, somebody comes to you and they're like, I want to be an IFBB pro. I don't fucking care what it takes. And I will do whatever is necessary to get there. And so, maybe, we're in the running for a Bikini pro card, and we use a little bit of Anavar, maybe a low dose of T3 and Clen. Some individuals, if it's in the budget, a quality GH, these are reasonable things. Okay. So what's happening is these girls won't get the pro card, and within 3 or 4 months, you'll look online and they're posting about you saying, he told me to take this, and then he told me to do that.
That's bullshit.
Yeah, so they're trying to make you look bad almost.
Signed up for this. You signed up for this, and it's podcasts like this that are awesome for like clearing the air and saying, listen, we don't promote drug use by any means.
Of course.
Since
we're not
doctors. It's always been the lowest dose appropriate, and if you choose to use it, we're going to help you use it without any long-term side effects. Always. If you want to turn pro, I hate to break it to you, but there are drugs involved. So
of course.
Blessed with phenomenal genetics, and you're like a Phil Heath or a Jay Cutler, and you can turn pro without using anything.
Very
All
rare.
Power to you. You're going to be the Mr. Olympia one day.
And even Ronnie had to use stuff to become Mr. Olympia.
Yeah, that's the thing, right?
Yeah, but I mean, it's got to be an even playing field. And if, Jay's running stuff and I want to be like Jay, how the fuck am I going to do that? Especially, I don't really have elite genetics, me being like a white Italian boy. It's not, I don't have that. My stomach gets big quick. I have a very box shape, so it takes a lot of enhancing in order for me to get that 3D wide shoulders, small waist, flaring quads, and it takes a lot of work, a lot of pinning, man. It is what it is.
Like you said, Sean, we wanted to be able to clear the air, let people know what they're getting into, you know, with the food, with the nutrition, and with the supplementation. You know, we joke about it. Doing the shots is the worst part about the bodybuilding,
Especially somebody on the
but it
fence.
really is. You know, you don't want to, like you said, send Sean an email. This is why I want to go pro. I want to do this and that. And then once he says, okay, look, this is what the pros are doing, you're like, oh, wait, hold on. This is way out of my budget. Or kids
Dude,
that
everyone wants to be a pro until they find out what it actually takes.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, and then like
financially as well.
I think
right?
too, you know, if there's a coach out there that's going and saying all these things are not necessary, you can turn pro naturally. You know, we know why they're saying it. Like that is to get the money.
It's the money.
Yeah,
it's the money,
course,
right?
Of course.
They want the money. It's a business.
If I know I didn't educate my client properly on the options available, I can't sleep at night. So you need to know if you're going into battle. Hey, did you know they have AK-47s in that bow?
Yeah. Why was he so much drier than me?
Well, you refuse to take diuretics, and you know.
And there's a level of knowledge that the customer has a responsibility to know. And unfortunately, a lot of people, if they're not honest with them, like, I'm not gonna say any names, but I've had clients come to me and they're like, hey, so-and-so just told me take this, this, and this. And I'm like, hey, do you know that these are actually enhancement drugs? And they're like, what? I thought it was natural. I'm like, no, you're definitely not natural.
You know what? It kills me too when I see people that'll go to a coach and then they'll take what that coach tells them without researching it themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's a mistake.
Age, you know what I'm saying? Back in the day, we had to rely on like mail order books and stuff, you know, for the back pages of Muscle Mag to figure out what was what. Nowadays, you can go on, Google everything you're told to take, look at the
steroid.com for me was like, I learned so much from that site. They got references, they got everything, suggested doses, side effects, who should do it, who shouldn't do it. I mean, the information's out there. Just a lot of people are lazy. They want to pay the coach. They want you to do everything. Tell me what to shoot. Tell me what to do this. And then there's a side effect. It's like, well, if you research Clen, your hands get shaky. It's a common side effect. It just means you got to, you know, probably bring down the dose. But when an athlete isn't responsible and they rely too much on the coach, it's got to be a team effort. It's not like I'm going to pay Adam and Adam's going to drag me through the mud. Nah, I got to stand on my feet and it's got to be a team effort. Because, you know.
It's your responsibility to research anything that you're going to take.
100%. It's your body.
Should be educating you about it in the first place.
Okay, guys.
Mike, you know, here's a little trick you can do. So you give your client like a topical bit of information on a drug, and then you say, I want you to, you know, research and think about it, and I'm going to ask you something 2 days from now.
Yeah,
so you ask them, like, you know, what's the appropriate dose for Clen, and what's the side effect? If they can't answer it, they did zero research. And
of course.
Of course, for sure. Absolutely. So I always do that. Like, you know, are you sure you want this? And then I'll just toss a random question, like, prove to me you looked into this compound.
Good. I think that's a good idea.
I want to help some girls, because I know there's a lot of girls out there right now who they see the success from Team T-Rex, and I don't want to give too much away, but I want to just try to help a couple that are probably watching, and let them know that your experience is wide in depth. Okay, what is too long for a client to be on Clen?
12 weeks for me is a maximum, and that's with the Palumbo protocol starting very low, right?
Of course.
A lot of people think that's a long time, but if you look at, you know, doing 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off, bridging it with ephedrine, you're going to have the same effect on your receptors.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And I just want no, continue, please.
The cleanse much more effective. It has fewer side effects to me than the caffeine ephedrine, you know. And once you hit once you hit that 100 milligram ceiling, or maybe more for some people, that's the most I found to be effective. And you cruise on that for a week or two, you start to feel really good. Even in the depths of your prep now, it gives you kind of like a euphoric sensation that I always found helped get me through the dog days. You know what I'm saying?
And I just wanted to share that with some of the viewers, because I know the CLEN is one of the most common. And I know a lot of coaches out there, they'll use some of these tools as a crutch to aid what they lack in knowledge of nutrition. So where they'll just have someone hammer the CLEN for weeks on end, where I wanted to show them, if you have an experienced coach, there's knowledge and information that they're lacking. So please, viewers, if you're looking for a coach, do your research, not only on what they're telling you to do, but on their client successes and their client history, and on them.
It's a lot of per client basis. There is no set formula for how it is.
Exactly.
Like, I don't think Chevy took any for his last prep because he's so lean naturally. Like, why am I going to put this guy on CLEN and burn off calories? He needs to be full. You know what I'm saying? So
And Jay, just the last point on this topic that I think we should get out there too is that it's not just the compounds that we're using and the duration or the dose, but it's also taking break from shows. Like so many times, somebody will be chasing a pro card and a judge will say, oh, you came second, you're so close, keep going. Or they'll say, oh, you got first, but not the overall, keep going. And so what ends up happening, that client is kind of brainwashed into thinking, I can't stop now, I got to keep going. And so they keep going and they don't want to take time off and they keep going. I'm thinking what's happening right now with the world is probably good for a lot of bodybuilders. Like, think of metabolic cleansing that's going on and fixing fatigue and sleeping properly and lowering stress.
Yes.
This is the for those people to rejuvenate their bodies and their metabolisms. Because the horror stories that I've seen in the industry, I've seen some crazy protocols from other coaches, but the ones that are kind of nasty are the ones of people that have been on something for 2 years. And they don't want to come off because they love that look. Like I met a girl who was using anti-estrogens for a year and a half.
Oh gosh.
And she'll never have kids.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It also applies to like male bodybuilders and stuff as well, right?
Of course.
When I first training, Ben Mikulski was when I was starting to go compete at the national level and stuff. Ben Mikulski was the guy who said to me, no matter what, 3 months off every year. Do your PT, take 3 months off every year. And he goes, after those 3 months, he goes, some asshole at the gym is going to be saying to you, you look small. He goes, 3 months after that, he's going to be going, how did you put on 10 pounds of muscle?
The same guy. 100%.
Yeah, you got to let your system normalize. And it's a really disturbing trend to see guys who just stay on cycles year round now. Especially when it's younger guys, because, the long-term effects of steroid use extend to a lot more than just reproductive and the physical effects.
Would you put low dose or like a cruise dose in that same category as PCT?
No.
So like off, clean off.
This testosterone is going to keep your own output depressed, right?
Yeah.
You need to come off, do PCT, get your natural test going again, and when you do that, the next cycle you
Sean, your face can't. Your face really shows whenever you have something to say, and you're like me. I'm like that.
We have that connection, I guess, Jay. So, what I think Adam's point, I totally agree with. For males, like it's different for females. That's generally the ones that I've been working with at the higher level, and so one thing to remember is what may be considered an appropriate dose is not an appropriate dose anymore if it's taken for 6 months to a year.
Yeah,
like that 10 milligrams of that you love the way it makes you look and the pumps you get in the gym. you're not intended to stay on that for the whole year.
That's only for your prep.
And yes, you will get side effects the longer you stay on something, even if
especially
it's the
for
appropriate
females.
dose.
Yeah.
The girls I never let them take anything in the off season. I force them to put on body fat in the off season, even though they'll cry and hate it. You know, that's where their gains come in, and then only institute an anabolic at some point during their prep, and not normally to like 12 weeks out. You know, and then Mike, you remember Cipriani, right?
So
I took her off everything 6 weeks out from the show because she was just looking so hard and jacked, and I'm like, let's just get rid of everything at this point.
Yeah.
Because they were going for
Was she doing figure or bikini?
She was doing figure.
Okay.
Yeah.
The cruising in between blasts is really popular amongst open bodybuilders right now. You really hear them talk about it a lot, like even on some popular podcasts, podcasts. I feel like I always mention Quad podcast.
So let me jump in for a sec, Jay. Sorry, so you can finish.
Well, no, I just wanted to double check that that would make it clear for the viewers. So you're recommending to come off clearly
clean.
to do clean PCT with HCG and everything for health reasons, or for your receptors to respond better for gains?
It's for health reasons, right? But it's also going to improve your gains versus staying on year round, because you know someone who you can always tell someone that's been on straight for 2 or 3 years because they look fatigued, they look shitty, their head starts to look like dark haze. You know what I'm saying? And that the long-term effects of steroid use also include anxiety and depression, right? And that's not a place you want to go to. And the way to avoid that is taking your time off every year.
And this is even when you're coming down to like a 100 milligram or a 75 milligram dose for 3 months out of the year, because they're recommending that now, like a TRT from doctors are prescribing.
I mean, that's fine. I'm on TRT, but that's because I'm 55 and I'm never going to have children.
Yeah.
Right. I don't want children.
So would you say that you won't get the benefits, like your receptors won't clear, you won't have those same benefits you're explaining?
To me, like everyone has a different opinion on it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
To me, I've always believed what Ben Mikulski told me, and he managed to knock up his wife during, when he was huge, and he followed his own protocol. 3 months off a year, that's enough time for your body to normalize. Utilize the HCG and Clomid and Nolvadex to get your own test back up and working, so that your testicles are continuing to work. I mean, what happens 10 years down the road, you meet a girl, you want to have a family, and now it's like, oh shit, now what am I gonna do?
Adam, are you actually on like a real TRT dose, or are you on like 250 a week?
No, I do. It's a nasal gel.
Oh, okay.
Have you seen that stuff? Yeah, and I do like 2 squirts inside every day, and I think it's the equivalent of about 150 milligrams.
Okay,
Wow.
and how do you feel off of that? I guess you feel good if you're still doing it.
Good, yeah, really good. Like keeps sometimes I'll run out and not renew it because I'm not competing anymore.
Yeah.
After like a month or two, I'll be like, oh yeah, I feel kind of crappy.
See, I could never do that. I would be the type to like, okay, I'm going to the gym. Let me just get a couple extra
before you leave the door. Yeah.
So, but how come you resorted to this the sniffing one? You're just sick of needles, and you're just like, fuck this, I'm done with that shit.
Well, most doctors, my doctor wouldn't prescribe me a needle. He said, oh no, they don't prescribe that anymore because they can only patent the delivery method. Right. So they're gonna give you androgel, which is I did that for a long time, but it's a pain in the ass. It's a pain in the ass. Like they should put it on your shoulders. I mean, it's enough to cover your entire upper body.
Holy shit, that's annoying.
The nasal one's a lot easier, but the thing is, doctors, they're likely gonna get kickbacks for promoting something. Yeah. They're not gonna get kickbacks from promoting something that can't be patented. So they don't want to give you the injection. That would be my choice.
Now, Adam, I wanted to expand on this whole cruising or coming off completely? Because I feel it's a huge topic that I've had a number of people. It's a massive topic, but I feel like, you know, as an amateur bodybuilder, someone who's, you know, starting, who's not trying to, you know, win pro shows, it's different. Someone who, like, it's a great mentality to come off, and a lot of people will preach that, and I know Dave Palumbo does too. I'm in agreement to that to a certain extent. I feel if you're, you know, a pro and you're trying to climb the ranks, you're trying to hold on to every fucking gram of muscle because this is your career, and doing a maintenance shot in real TRT, not necessarily 250, but even 100 to 125 a week, because that's typically what, you know, an average man would produce. It would have a lot more benefits to come off completely because you could hold on to that little bit. So when you come off the cycle, instead of like losing and then gaining, and you're really only gaining this much, you won't come, you know, you won't drop as much. And then when you come back on, hopefully you could inch, just like inch better.
It's almost like 2 steps forward, 1 step back.
Any exogenous testosterone that you take will not let your body's natural production recover.
Well, what about
no arguing with that?
Will the receptors?
100 milligrams from exogenous testosterone and keep your testicles from functioning, or just blast them with HCG, get them up and have them go back down again, or keep your reproductive system healthy, right? And from what I've seen, coming off, I mean, if you're lowering your dose to 100, of course you're going to feel a lot better than if you're doing 3 grams. You know what I'm saying? So
oh, fuck, of course.
Yeah.
But have your own test being produced and healthy is going to keep your body healthy in the future. You know what I'm saying? And from what I've seen, coming off makes the next cycle more effective than just going up and down.
It's almost like taking 3 steps forward, 1 back.
No doubt that next cycle will be more productive, but how much are you losing prior to gaining that? Because
I think here's a better way.
Will just be making it, you know, earning that back.
I think here's a better way to rephrase the question that might help all of us. And Sean, you never got a chance to speak on the topic, so I'm going to ask you: do receptors down-regulate and up-regulate, or do they turn off or get clogged? What's the goal here? What's the process?
Well, I think the goal for most of us should be, you don't want to, it's not a race to the highest dose you can possibly take. And so what Adam's saying is, taking this 3 months off, what you're doing is you're extending your drug protocol life so that you don't have to do the 3, 4, 5 grams of stuff. If you've taken these time off, then you can come back at a lower relative dose than what you would need had you stayed on. So for me, it's pretty clear. What you're really trying to do is extend the amount of time that you don't have to resort to those ultra high doses and diminishing returns.
Right.
And, you know, and there's also the point that, and my doctor told me that, and he's had a lot of experience with bodybuilders and gym guys and stuff, and a lot of his own personal experience too. But he told me that every patient he's had who has used steroids long term has come to him later with anxiety and depression issues too. Because
that's a whole different ball game. Yeah, but I do agree with that for sure.
Yeah,
I was talking
like that's a very important ball game if you consider, you know, we've had a couple of suicides.
Absolutely,
like
Yes.
Nobody likes to admit that there's a link to these things. Oh, I feel great when I'm on test. Yeah, but you might not always, right? And when
that will
change,
differ.
Change very fast.
That'll differ from individual to individual, but absolutely, mental health is a huge topic, especially when it comes to androgenic anabolic steroids. And I feel like because at the end of the day, sorry.
If you're a coach, you're not doing your job if you're not trying to keep your client healthy.
No, for sure. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Do you do like a mental stability check with them, or can you just tell when a client's like wigging out and you know they're on shit? You're like, okay, this is not you.
Well, yeah, we do like to monitor, and Sean has actually fired clients who were showing signs of eating disorders and mental instability. Sorry.
Yeah, and when we say fire, we break up nicely.
Yeah.
So this is the thing, right? Like I did study a bit of psychology in university, but when you do this for 10, 15, 20 years, you do start to notice things. And, you know, for example, you might have a client that, you know, you ask them a question about a cheat meal and they dodge the question. They don't tell you how it filled them out. They don't tell you how they felt after. And then you say, okay, I would like a photo of the meal and the completed meal. And you never get it. So you look for patterns and then you request the information.
Right.
But this whole topic of like instability and contest prep, you guys could do an entire episode on that. Like,
Yeah.
That alone, yeah.
That are using contest prep to hold their lives together as the glue, as the cement to kind of give them that foundation that they need.
That purpose,
like,
yeah.
Transfer their eating disorder to another thing, you know, just.
But I find
Another telltale sign, we have a client, we tell them have a cheat meal, and they want you to be specific to the calorie of what that cheat meal is supposed to be. It's like, no, it's a cheat meal. Go enjoy it. They can't.
Yeah.
Eat the burger and fries and shut the fuck up.
How do you keep your personal investment out of it? And I asked this as a coach myself, and coming up over the years, I know when I first started, if I was working with someone and they cheated on the diet, you know, I felt like they cheated on me. Like, how could you do this to us? How did you learn to separate yourself from being too involved? Both of you.
Well, I think it's important as a coach and in life in general to try and take your ego out of everything you do.
Yeah.
Right? Behave as if this didn't involve you, and how would you approach it in that case? If a client cheats on a diet, it's, you know, it can be kind of annoying, especially if you see a pattern of it, like with some clients who can never stick to the diet. And in that case, I'll stop working.
Yeah.
And it's a reflection on them, you know? I feel that client would cheat with any coach. It's nothing personal to do with Adam or Sean or Jay or Amer. And I know a lot of clients or a lot of people these guys have dealt with, they just go in circles. They go from T-Rex to Jay to Amer to this, and they try to just get their, you know, how they can be happy with their shit meals.
I think the other thing that's important too is that, you know, and it also involves taking your ego out of it, is if a client does leave you for another coach, don't take that personally. You know, Ronnie left Chad.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It happens to everybody, and you should try and maintain that friendship or that relationship, you know, at least on some level, because there's no reason for bad feelings for anything like that.
Unless it ended on a sour note. I mean, if it was a very disrespectful break off, or like Sean would say, like a nice way to, you know, end it.
Would you agree, Sean? Same?
Well, what I find is like, I think everybody's a little sensitive nowadays. We know that, and like, if I'm a coach and I stop working with somebody and they go to another coach and I get the feeling that I'm being watched even more than when they were my client, or it's like somebody is just now gonna make a point to follow your every move. I don't think you have to maintain that relationship. I think, you know, I'm not, even after clients have attacked me, you know, a handful of people over 10 years have publicly tried to say shit on social media. I've trained 1,000 people. It's going to happen. Like,
yeah, of course.
I let it go. It is what it is. The longer you do it, the more of these you'll collect. And I just look at it like, listen, I don't have anything against you. I don't have anything bad to say about you. But if I don't want to maintain this friendship anymore, don't take it personal.
Yeah.
You know,
You've been able to do that really well. And we asked Jay a similar question because he's actually coaching his current girlfriend. Catherine, and she's a national level competitor. And I know you've coached someone that you've dated in the past and actually even had success with them. How do you manage those two hats when you're in that relationship and your coach and your boyfriend?
Yeah, I heard Jay's answer to this. That was interesting. Like, I do agree with Jay that you have to clearly define your hats. And, you know, the way that I did it in the past was, if you get an email from me, it's your coach, because your boyfriend's not going to email you.
Yeah.
Right.
So if it's coming from an email, that's your coach, and everything else it is going to be your boyfriend. And then you kind of have to, there's going to be times if you're the boyfriend and your girl is competing and you know she's deviating from your diet and you know she's not doing the cardio, or you know she's snacking, there's going to be times where you just got to
Buckle down.
you can't do shit. And that's where guys will run into problems, when your girl feels like you're watching them all the time, and you know they can't do anything and they see you sneak something. You can't be that guy. You got to be the coach, lay out the plan and say, I trust that you're going to do this, and hope that they respect that. And you know, we had a good experience, goal achieved. And yeah, it wasn't easy, but you know,
No, definitely not.
You figure out how to make it work.
I know.
See, for me, I would be like, if you mouth off one more time, guess who's doing
I knew this was going to be a good one, and I hate to hold you guys up too long, so let's get into these questions. Branden was right.
Yeah.
He was right for us to try to get through it, but I
It's
wanted to get
easy
the
like,
brain a little bit more.
It's easy to like just keep shooting the shit, you know?
That's why it's shooting the shit.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay, so our first question actually comes from jvella_fitness. I don't know if you guys know who that is, but he basically just asked, are people going to be able to properly prep for shows with the quarantine restrictions? So I guess maybe he kind of wants you to tie into, like, you know, with the limited access to gyms and equipment. Yeah. And like, what's your guys' take on that, basically?
To me, it depends totally on what workout facilities you have on hand. If you don't have weights and you don't have a way to work out, then there's no prep.
Are you guys training right now?
Yeah.
Personally?
Dude, have you seen Sean's backyard?
I know, that's why I asked. I was waiting for the segue.
That's funny, yeah.
Dumbbells. So sick.
I'm going to train Adam in Jurassic Park after this. We're going to hit some delts.
Yeah, Jurassic Park. I love it.
All right, Branden, you asked the next question. I'm going to bring up some pictures of Jurassic Park for us.
Okay. So the next question here we got is from Giant Aesthetics. He asks, he basically says, discuss what some of the biggest mistakes you see in competitors during their prep, and what would you say some of the biggest mistakes you'd see from general lifestyle clients when trying to diet? So basically the mistakes you see from prep clients versus mistakes you see from your lifestyle clients that you have.
Yeah, Adam and I would just go back and forth. Like, one of the big ones that I see mistakes that people make, I would just call it rushing into things a little bit too dramatically. So when you're starting a prep, you don't make your changes so extreme, okay? You have to kind of gradually ease into things, because what you want to do is make a change, your body adapts, make another change, your body adapts. And a lot of times what competitors are doing is thinking, my prep just started, time to go 0 carbs. And
so you don't want to go 0 to 100, basically.
Yeah. So for me, that's one, like, gradual changes, not extreme changes. And it seems like common sense, but I'm still getting clients coming from other coaches where it's like, this is the bikini plan they gave me. And it's like, it's the same thing for everybody. And you just follow it, just prep. And it's crazy to me that people are still doing this.
Yeah, no, for sure.
I was sharing this picture of the Jurassic Park, but I realized it was a video. I didn't want to click play while you were talking. So hopefully if you guys can't see this. So tell us about Jurassic Park. This is your backyard?
Yeah, this is the backyard.
Oh, wow. Look at that setup that you have there.
They're all constantly
pretty cool. Pretty unique.
dumbbells, and he made a barbell. That's a
You got
massage
everything you
therapy
need.
chair, Roman
That's
chair,
creative.
Oh, nice. You even got a banner up on the shed
So-
there.
So are you selling memberships for that, or are you taking any memberships or what?
Oh, you guys even got the logo on the concrete dumbbells there.
So cool.
Yeah, Aaron, that's Aaron's handiwork there.
Okay,
So,
tell us about the concrete dumbbells, because I know you were selling them.
Yeah, I found a guy, he's actually a bodybuilder. I don't think he's competed yet, but he's making these concrete dumbbells. He's a carpenter who's out of work right now, and he made me this set there. And I thought I was just going to get one, but when you pick these things up, the weight
They're
is
solid.
so uniform and evenly distributed that
Yeah.
it feels
Yeah.
better than any weight. I love it.
For
So
sure.
how much? These are 60s? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's solid.
So he's making up to 100s, but at that point, concrete isn't dense enough, I think. Like, if you were pressing 100s, it would be like out to here.
Yeah.
A little crazy. So I got 60s, 50s, 40s, 20s, and then the barbell, and that's like the deadlift area over there.
Okay.
Do you have any? You have concrete plates too, or no?
Yeah. Those are cinder blocks, so they're about 50 pounds each.
Oh,
But
shit.
it's different, bro. Like when you
Wow.
do a row and the weight moving around on you,
Yeah.
it's different. Like,
Yeah, it's like
not-
a
Yeah.
shake bar, right? Like you're stabilizing it.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
for sure.
Okay,
and you know, like,
go ahead.
so, like, people have left me comments, and like, you know, somebody left me a comment like, "I feel so bad for you. You've got this ghetto gym." I'm like, I need to clear this up, guys. Like, I'm having fun. I work.
It's
my office
different.
is in a state-of-the-art gym, a Fitness Connection. This place is like top of the line, everything. And I wanted this backyard gym just to be raw and dirty and like blast some hip hop and
Nice.
just have a nice workout in the sun. And
Yeah,
that's
Oh,
all
for
it was
sure.
intended.
I like it.
And a few clients have been like, "Yeah, you know, that looks cool. Are you taking people?" And I'm like, "Am I?" So, yeah,
Yeah, you had the
Well,
video, yeah.
I got a huge smile on my face right now because I'm looking at one of your #1 clients here. Tell us about this little guy.
Oh yeah.
yeah, it's my son.
Killing
Caleb.
it.
He's 7. He's turning 8 at the end of the month, and he's such a great kid. And you know, unfortunately, his mother and I didn't work things out, but his personality is just incredible.
Going hard.
And
It's a big
I
backyard.
feel every second that I'm with him that this kid just looks up to me and wants to impress me and keep me happy.
Holy
and
shit. He's 7?
Wow.
I've had people say like,
Wow.
"How could you do that to him?" But
Look
you
at the
don't see
smile
him.
on his face. What do
I
you
know.
mean?
Yeah, he looks like he's
Yeah.
enjoying it.
He's making
I don't
dad
see
smile
why.
too, that's why.
And we
Right
know
now,
and we know personally how great he feels, right? After accomplishing that, after, you know, getting through a tough session.
Absolutely.
I bring it up because I'm a father as well, and I read a post from you. It might have been last year or a year before that he was dealing with some bullying at school, and you brought him in and started training him, and it really helped boost his confidence. Tell us a little bit about that.
yeah, like he's so he's 7 and he's 112 pounds. So to put things in perspective, some of his friends weigh about 55 to 60 pounds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's a thick kid. He may not have the best metabolism or whatever, but the thing is, you know, you got to sit down and think, when your son comes home and he's quiet, and then you ask him about it and he starts crying and he
Yeah.
says that the kids, you know, 3 different kids at school were calling him fatty and a fat kid in the schoolyard, and it's relentless, the things these kids are saying. And
Kids are the worst.
you know, you see the tears coming down his face, and you're like, you could do one of 2 things. You could try to control the diet, which I'm not with him every day, or you could try to build up his self-esteem and do it that way, and explain to him, like, you don't need to avoid foods. You have to learn how to eat things in moderation, because teaching kids at this age to avoid, and this is a good food and this is a bad food, I don't really agree with that.
It's going to create an eating disorder.
Yeah, I think all foods are good. You just got to eat them in the right quantity, in the right time. And so
that's
got this thing in his head like, oh, you want a little bowl of ice cream? Guess you got to work out today. So he now equates the way bodybuilders think about cheat meals. So it's like, well, if I want to have this delicious thing, I got to do my physical activity for the day. And he's being homeschooled now, and we're using Google Classroom. And I actually uploaded that video to his class to say, you know, are you guys keeping active? Caleb is.
Yeah.
So, and then I just saw like the comments, and he was really proud of what he did. And what's probably going to happen is he's not going to look slim until he gets taller.
Gets taller, yeah.
Yeah.
But when he does, he'll be jacked. He'll have like huge calves and everything too, right?
Yeah.
Well, for sure.
Like a lot more muscular than his last base too. I just want to interject here to Sean's credit. Caleb's initial reaction to a kid that bullied him was to bam his head on his Sean discouraged that thing.
You know, what you're giving him is priceless, man, and it's bigger than money, because it's something that no matter what, he'll be able to pass that down to his kids as well. And, you know, these will be lessons that he learned from his dad. You know, they'll be priceless. It won't just be fitness. It will be related directly with your relationship with him. I'm happy for you guys for that, man. I think it's awesome.
Absolutely.
Okay,
hey,
so
Adam,
we got
I wanted to ask Adam a quick question.
We got more questions for the viewers.
Are you guys still tight? Do you still talk at all?
Yeah.
Me and Sean?
No, you and Stefan.
Oh, Stefan, yeah.
Okay, right. Stefan, he was the French coach, right? The French guy?
Dude, I always thought they were brothers. Because they said they were twins as a joke, and I always thought until I think Stefan told me one time at Olympia, he goes, no, we're not actually brothers. I'm like, but you look the same almost. Like in the body, like even their bodies are almost the same on stage. It's crazy.
Yeah.
We have the same birthday too.
Oh, yeah, fucking, there you go. Yeah.
And it was funny because then we compared the Nationals in Halifax, and I think it was 2013, right?
And 14, you guys are together.
Yeah, that's right. I get to the show, and Stefan's there, and he's like, "Oh, Adam, go get your tan now. Go get your tan now. They're doing it now. Go get your glaze, right?" So I go back, and the girls look at me, and they go, "You can't be dry yet." And I was like, "What? You can't be dry yet. We just glazed you." And I'm like, "Oh."
That's amazing.
Okay, Brandon. Next question.
Okay, this is the last one from. This is the last.
Oh no! Wait. What do you say?
Hold on.
I just want to say one thing about Stefan. He won his pro card at 2015. I think it was in Laval.
14.
Yeah,
it was 14.
14. Okay. So he won the master's class. I missed my peak, and I came fifth in that master's class, right? So a couple days go by, and he comes over to my place. And he goes, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "What do you mean?" He goes, "Oh, well, you should have been higher than top 5. I just don't want you to be upset." I got top 5 in nationals. I'm super happy. I'm super happy that you won your pro card.
Yeah.
And he goes, no, you look real good. And I go, yeah, but you didn't see when I turned around.
Yeah.
And that was
Yeah.
He looked good, man. Stefan, like from the back, I think that's where he really separated himself from a lot of the competitors. So he looked good. He looked good. It was a good show. Yeah.
All right.
All right. So we got one last question here, and it was one of the ones that one of the viewers asked you based on your story that you sent to me. So they asked, is it possible to lose fat and maintain muscle during this quarantine?
Yeah, and I tossed up a post today just to kind of shout out one of my guys that he has done exactly that. And
I'll share.
Here's the thing, guys. Like, it depends on your level of experience, how long you've been training, and what it took to get you to that point. Because if you've been training for 10 years with heavy weights, and then you switch over to training at home with some 15, 20-pound dumbbells and some bands. No, you're not going to maintain or gain anything. There's absolutely no reason why you can't lean out and drop some body fat. But the thing is, you remove structure from everybody's day, and everything is just clusterfuck.
So it just depends, I guess, on where you're at, like before it happened. Like it depends on what your level was before it happened. So like somebody who's an elite level competitor isn't going to be making progress, whereas someone who's like relatively new could actually benefit from it.
Plus they do have access to a full home gymmers.
Yeah, like for example, my answer to that question for the guy I just posted would be like, you know, go out and get, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4 things, follow this exact protocol, and you know you'll look really good.
Absolutely.
Now, let's say Alan M asked me, you know, the same question. I would be like, no, you can't fucking make that size with bands and a couple dumbbells. Like, the bigger you are, the harder it's going to be to maintain. And that's why I'm still saying your goal through COVID should be not to slip up too much and get to the point where you're like, fuck it, you know, the train has derailed and let's ride this thing until the gym's open. That's not the way to think. Like, you got to look at it like, the more you slip, you're just putting yourself in a worse position for when that train starts chugging again and your prep starts. Like, this is all work you're going to have to do later. So be good now so you're not spending extra time on a treadmill later and dieting for 20 weeks instead of 12.
Jay, you were saying?
Yeah, I was just I have more questions. Brandon, those were all the questions?
Those are the questions off Instagram.
And Sean, you sent the ones that you had to
Yeah.
So I have like a couple just rapid fire questions just because I'm a meathead. All right. Favorite anabolic for male bodybuilder? Say if you're doing an off season. I'll just throw a couple out there. Tren or EQ? Or Tren or DECA?
Off-season?
Yeah, off season. DECA?
Yeah, I'll go with DECA.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's going to give you a lot of the effects of Tren, a lot of the gains without the sides. You know, and if you're not trying to look sharp, you don't need it anymore.
Okay. Test sip or test tenente?
Doesn't matter.
Do you rotate?
Doesn't matter. Test is test. The ester, you know, and they're not that much different in length either, I don't believe. So.
Fast or slow esters off season? If the client is okay, can tolerate the shots.
Slow.
Still slow. Nice.
Still slow. I think you know, you have to remember your skin is an organ as well, right?
Yeah.
And when you into your prep and you're poking every day, you're constantly abusing that organ. So it's good in the off season to, you know,
to break
minimize
mentally too, I think.
Give yourself a little bit of a break. Exactly.
High carb or high fat off season?
High carb.
Yeah. And how high would you go? I've heard some people getting up into like the 1,500 grams of carbs. Would you say that's like way too high?
That's probably overkill. You could be getting your like if you're getting to the point where you can't get your food down, you need to just up your fat intake because that's you know, you don't need as much mass of food. I mean, like I don't know how it was for you guys, but when I was, you know, getting up into the 260, 265 region, it was hell every day trying to get all the food down. So
GHRP6 usually helps.
Yeah, for sure.
Hit or steady pace cardio?
Depends how much fat they have to lose. So I always say the more fat you have to lose, you're doing hit. When you're trying to preserve muscle, you do steady. That one's pretty straightforward.
I also like those. If it's 2 sessions a day, steady state fasted and hit post workout.
Short prep or long prep? Long prep.
Good answer.
Short, I'll say like 8 to 12, and longer we'll say like 20.
12 to 16, 12 to 20.
Yeah,
I think 16
like,
is still kind of short.
16 is the longest I would go with a male, right? And if you have, it's all dependent on the client. You have someone like Chevy, we did 10 weeks last year for his pro shows. We got to do 12 this year, but then everything went tits up.
And what I do, Jay, is like 16 to 20 weeks, but you tell them they're on prep, but the diet hasn't actually started until, say, 10 weeks. So that first phase is like, what muscle groups are key for you to bring up during this time? Because you're not going to build muscle the entire prep. You're going to focus the first half of that prep on bringing up the weak points, getting them that switch on where it's like, I'm on prep, and then transitioning into a diet. So I don't like taking people if it's not going to be 16 weeks. Give me 16 weeks and we can get a good outcome.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right.
Anything
let's
else?
Let's get personal. Let's get just a couple more personal. I know there's a lot of people that want to pick these guys. Okay, Sean, car guy or truck guy?
Car.
What about you, Adam?
Car.
Car?
Hot head.
All right, man. Thank you guys so much for coming on.
Awesome.
Really appreciate
Thanks,
you.
guys.
Is there anything that you want to tell the viewers, or any thing you want to plug, or any messages you want to send out?
No, I just want to thank you guys for everything that you're doing with this podcast. I think it's long overdue that some real industry people step up and put this out there. And you're a voice for the CPA and the bodybuilding community. And we needed this in Canada, I'm a big
that's what we,
I think you guys are doing a great job. Yes. And the only thing I'm going to plug is I'm going to be doing a 30-day Fix Your COVID Spill challenge. For all the people that let themselves go, from about June 15th to July 15th, I'm going to be doing a 30-day challenge. I got room for about 10 to 15 people, and I think Nick, Twum, and Chevy might help me with this one. So this one,
you guys heard it here first.
Yeah, it's not going to be our standard transformation where it's like teaching people, a good lifestyle, gradually making changes. This one, I'm going to flip it. I'm going to say, you know what? This is something that we want to do. Just drop that and wait in that 30 days. And what we're going to do is, I was talking to Twum, and we're going to do video chats with people every day from one of the coaches.
Awesome.
So we're going to do online coaching for accountability purposes and get that ball rolling back in the right direction.
I see here you also have a hosting a free nutrition webinar.
Yeah, so this was something thought of by the gym that I'm at, Fitness Connection, and we want to do a nice favor for the members, and it's open to everybody actually. And I'm going to be going through everything that I've seen people are kind of screwing up during COVID and how you can fix it. So I would say that this one here isn't really for competitors. This is for regular people that have kind of slipped up, and I'm going to tell you how to fix any kind of spill that you've done. And this is a free webinar. And then moving forward, we're going to have a webinar series with Fitness Connection.
That's awesome.
So are you guys not? Are you not at Olympia anymore at all? Prior COVID, post COVID now, hopefully.
I'm at Olympia every weekend, just because I still have some clients out in the West End, but I'm living out in this area now, so this made more sense for the.
Where's this area?
Richmond Hill.
Oh, cool.
Nice,
okay, that's originally
so you're
where
on
I'm
the little
from.
more
you're closer to you now. Yeah.
I'm originally from Thornhill.
Oh.
Yeah,
a little more east.
That's like right by.
Yeah,
there.
close though.
I'm on Pure Muscle, really.
Yeah.
Oh, that's far.
That explains, yeah.
Sean, I'm near you, man. I'm in Wonderland, so I'm like probably a 10, 15-minute drive to you.
Yeah, you gotta come check out the Jurassic Park one.
Hey, not without me, man. Not without me. I'll stand 6 feet away. I promise. I gotta come check that shit out.
Yeah.
I really do.
We gotta record it. We gotta do a recording if we go.
All right.
sure.
Nice. All right, guys. Thanks again, man. I can't
Really
thank
appreciate you
enough.
guys coming on the
Much
show.
love,
For
for
sure.
sure.
I just want to sign off with one thing. I know you guys are gonna do something about this, but Black Lives Matter.
Thank you. I
Yes, they
appreciate
do.
that.
Yes,
man.
they
I
do.
appreciate that.
Oh,
For
also,
we
sure.
had
A
a
little
like,
plug. A little plug.
yeah,
If
no, we
people
had a
wanna-
good talk on that. We just posted
We
the video.
filmed.
We
We
had a
filmed.
real
Yes,
long
we
talk on
filmed
that yesterday.
2 days ago
Yeah,
on
I
that.
think I
We
saw
did
that.
just us three.
I appreciate
Guys,
that,
if
guy.
people,
If a black person hasn't told you yet, we appreciate it. I appreciate it. You know, it may seem like really little, but it means a fucking hell of a lot, man. It really does.
Yeah. We're both in multiracial relationships too.
All right. Sling the hammer.
guys, so if people want to reach you or get in contact with you, where should they like DM the T-Rex page on Instagram or?
Yeah, the T-Rex Instagram page is a safe bet.
Okay, good.
Right. Awesome, guys.
Awesome.
Thanks for having us on. Thank you for coming on.
Right.
And,
Thank you for having me.
yeah, I think my blood sugar's getting low, Sean. What do you recommend
Time
I
to
eat?
eat.
Yeah. All
Whatever's
right,
in
guys.
front of you, man.
Yeah. Stay safe, guys. Take care.
Later, guys.
Supplements designed by an IFBB pro, holistic nutritionist, and veteran. Our 360 quality assurance system ensures you get fully dosed supplements that work. Whether your goal is to build muscle, burn fat, enhance strength, or extend endurance, we've got what you need. This is an army of iron warriors. This is the AG Army. Join us and wage war on your genetics. AGArmy.com. Field tested, science proven, advanced genetics.